Take the average sales price in your market and multiply that by, on average, 3%. Now, some of you got $6,000, $12,000, $30,000. That's the amount that every single person in your sphere of influence can bring you with every transaction. So if you're not working your sphere of influence, the people that know you, that like you and trust you, then you're missing out, because those are the easiest people to convert. So you're leaving thousands upon thousands of dollars in GCI on the table every single year. But today we're fixing that. Today I'm going to share with you the system that our real estate agents are using to convert their sphere of influence on autopilot. It's so simple, in fact, that it only takes 3 steps. The first step is creating your sphere of influence list. So I want you to get a Google Sheet out or an Excel sheet and start listing out everybody that you know. Don't worry about filtering ahead of time. Just list out everybody that you possibly can remember. This means family members. This means past coworkers. This means friends. Everybody makes this list. So just have a column for the first name and then have a column for the last name. Again, everybody makes this list. Don't worry if you like them or not. And here's what's going to happen. After around 20 to 30 people, you're going to start running out of names. So I want you to get out your phone and go on all of your social media channels. This means Facebook. This means Instagram. This means LinkedIn. And start going through your connections. And everybody that you would consider as being part of your sphere of influence is making your list. And that's going to get us a lot more people, but we're not quite done. Now you're going to take your phone out and scroll through your contacts list. Now, one of the questions that comes up quite a bit is, well, who's actually considered part of my sphere of influence? Now, there's no one objective criteria on who makes your sphere of influence, but the test that I like to give is, if I saw the individual walking down the street, would I go out of my way to go and greet them? Would I go out of my way to go say hi? And if the answer is yes, I go ahead and put them on my sphere of influence. I consider them part of my SOI. And if the answer is no, if I would not go and say hi to them, then they're not going to be on my SOI. So now that you've used your brain, now that you've used social media and also used your contact list, now you're going to have a healthy list to work from. Now that's just your draft list. Now we need to finalize it. Now we start filtering out those individuals that we have no intention to reach out to. Previously, your only consideration on who made that list was if they were part of your SOI. But now you get to weed out those individuals that you have no intentions of working with. And we already have that list. In fact, I would argue that when you were creating your list to begin with, you were already in your mind discounting those people and you had no idea why you were writing them down in the first place. Now that concludes step 1. You've created your list. You've gone through your rough draft and then you've weeded out the individuals that you have no intention of connecting with. Because here's the thing, if we leave those individuals that we do not want to work with, well, there's a higher likelihood that we're not even going to follow through with this strategy, because our pain of working with these individuals, reaching out to them via text, via email, via whatever, it's just going to be so painful and we're going to stop doing this. So set yourself up to win. We actually want to follow through on this strategy. Anyway, I was going down a rabbit hole. Let's come right back and go to step number 2, which is finding your sphere of influence. Now you have to go and find as much contact information on the individuals that you just listed out. You're going to want to be connected to them via social media. You want to have their phone number, you want to have their email, and you also want to have their physical address. Now, don't worry. Starting out, you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 contact points for these individuals. It's step 3 where everything starts coming together, where you're going to organically and very naturally collect all of the information that I just talked about. So again, right now, your goal is to connect with as many individuals as possible. Let's just say you found a bunch of people on your phone that you didn't have on your Facebook or on your Instagram or on your LinkedIn. Well, those individuals, you're going to go friend them on Facebook, you're going to follow them on Instagram, and you're going to connect with them on LinkedIn. This is where you're going to start filling a lot of gaps, and vice versa. You're going to have some people that are on your social media that will need their phone number. In some cases, they put their phone number directly on social media. The 2 items that most people don't have for their sphere of influence is their email and their physical address. So that's something that we're going to be building again here on step 3. But before we get to that, where are my manners? Allow me to welcome you to my YouTube channel. My name is Jaime Resendiz, and I help real estate professionals exponentially grow their business through actionable content. And I'm on a mission to help reduce the over 80% failure rate for real estate agents. So if you can hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, it's going to really help me out. All right, so the moment that you've been waiting for, step number 3. This is when we actually reach out. This is when we actually start making some money. Think of all the ways that you can reach out to your sphere of influence. You can email them, you can call them, you can text them, you can DM them, you can send direct mail to their house, and you can also visit with them in person. There's 6 different ways. From an email perspective, we're going to email everyone in our sphere of influence every single month. That's not optional. It has to happen. But the rest of the communication methods, we're going to break down per month. So as an example, in January, we're going to direct message everyone in our sphere of influence. In February, we're going to call everybody in our sphere of influence. In March, we're going to text everybody. In April, we're going to do direct mail. And then in May, we're going to execute in-person activities. More on that later. Now remember that you've created this sphere of influence on an Excel sheet or a Google sheet. And then you had a first name column and then a last name column. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sort by that last name. So everybody with the last name that starts with A is going to be paired together. Everybody with the B, same thing, C, D, and on and on. And what we're going to do now is everybody that starts with an A, we're going to assign the first day of the month to. So A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. So what this means that on the 3rd day of the month, you're going to reach out to everybody that has the last name that starts with the C. Now, this is the exact same system that I use not only from the sphere of influence for buyers or sellers, but also from the agent attraction. So the recruitment that I do for my real estate team. And given that I have over 1,400 agents that I'm following up with, that I'm nurturing, it becomes so much easier to do it this way. I only have to reach out to a handful of people. So as an example, I know that on the 18th of the month, I'm reaching out to everyone that has the last name starting with an R. And then on the 19th of the month, I'm reaching out to everyone that has a last name that starts with an S. So bringing this back to the cadence and structure that I shared earlier. In January, I'm direct messaging everybody in my sphere of influence, except I'm not direct messaging every single one of them. On January 4th, I'm direct messaging everybody that has a last name that starts with a D. So again, as an example, on February 8th, I'm calling everybody that has the last name that starts with an H. Are you starting to see how everything comes together? So March 12th, I'm texting everybody that has the last name that starts with an L. In April, you have direct mail. This is when you get to decide. You can either do bulk mailing at the beginning of the month and be done with it for the entire month, or you can follow the same system that we just laid out and do handwritten notes or mail everything one by one. So as an example, April 3rd, you're sending direct mail pieces out manually on that day to everybody that has the last name that starts with C. And now when it comes to May, you're doing in-person activities. So you can either do pop buys where you actually go to their physical home. You can do coffee meetups where you go to the local Starbucks and you hang out, or you can throw events and have people come to you. This is actually my preferred strategy because this allows me to know what I'm gonna send them the previous month. Because remember, in April, I was doing direct mail. So I can send everybody in my sphere of influence invitations to come to my event, aka them coming to me, rather than me going individually to every single person. And then the cycle just continues to repeat itself. Then you go back into the DMs, then you go back into calling, then you go back into texting, then direct mail, and then again in person. And the cycle just continues to cycle. All the while, remember that emails have to be going out every single month. That's not optional. You have to do this at bare minimum. Now, I know I threw a lot at you, but for your convenience, I have linked the entire system down below. You're going to get access to every single step detailed out. You're also going to get a CRM, the workflow, and also the scripts and templates that I personally use to secure all of their contact information. So if you're interested in that system, check out the link down below.